Launch control, this is Houston. We are go for launch.
Hold on to your lug nuts. It's time for an overhaul.
Turn it up, son.
I'm your huckleberry.
I don't give jobs, I hire men. You won't give me anything, and I won't give you anything.
Collision, sir.
Whoa, relax. We're not even moving.
There's no crying in baseball.
Live and statewide from Spence Broadcast Plaza, we're News New Mexico with Jim Spence and Michael Swickard. It's Tuesday, May 22nd, 2012. Aaron Henry Diaz is here. I'm Michael Swickard. Jerry Harden is our producer-director. You can go to newsnm.com. Follow along. You also can get podcasts if you want to hear things that we have said. As we do the second hour of every Tuesday, we're talking with Marita Noon, Energy Makes America Great. Org, yes. Only she's not where she normally is right now.
Chicago, Chicago, that toddling town.
That's where you are. You're in Chicago right now, huh?
I am in Chicago right now. Did you see my pictures on Facebook?
No. I don't
I know sometimes you troll my Facebook page.
I do. I watch most of the time.
I arrived here Sunday afternoon in the middle of the NATO protest, and it took me my cab driver could not get me to my hotel. They dropped me off about 8 blocks away, and here I am in 4-inch heels and a dress, schlepping my luggage in the heat of Chicago down the sidewalk with all these protesters.
So you look just like the protesters. You're looking just like them.
Yeah, well, that's the point of why I addressed what I was wearing. I didn't look anything like the protesters, but there I was, stuck in the protest.
All right. Well, but we're glad we could add a little sound effects. I don't know if you know, on this date in the year 1980, there was this sound heard a lot. You know what that sound is?
No.
That's Pac-Man. It was just released on this day. Yeah, that's what that's what Pac-Man, of course.
I was never any good at Pac-Man, so I probably tried it once or twice and was a dismal failure and never did it again, so that's why I didn't recognize the sound. I still don't do video games to this day.
Well, and of course, for you and I and people of our generation, 1992 on this date was just a sad time because this was the last time we heard. This was Johnny Carson's last performance, and so anyway, we want to talk about Tombstone, don't we?
We do want to talk about Tombstone. As I'm here in Chicago at the International Conference on Climate Change, and as I've been talking to some of the guys that are here, I mean, it's mostly guys, they're mostly all scientists, so I'm sort of a fish out of water here as a non-scientist and a chirpy female. But as I've been talking about...
You don't have a pocket protector. Are you telling me that?
I don't even have a pocket, let alone a pocket protector. Because pockets add lumps to the dress, so I don't even have a pocket
I'm not going there.
Yeah, no, it's best to not go there.
No,
but I am here with all these scientists.
Good.
And as I've been talking to them, and I've been talking, they were like, what are you doing? I said, well, my current piece has been really popular. And they say, well, what is it on? And it has been very popular on townhall.com. My Tombstone column has, as of yesterday, I actually haven't checked today, maybe one of you could check, but my column had 280 Facebook likes, which is the most I have ever had. That's the way I can gauge the public's interest in each week's column. Last week, my column on wind had 95 likes, I think. But this one on Tombstone has 280 likes as of yesterday afternoon. And so I talked to all these scientists. They're like, Tombstone? What are you talking about, Tombstone? And so obviously it's a story that needs to get out there of what's happening right now, what the feds are doing in Tombstone, Arizona.
Absolutely. I wrote about it last week, too, and then it was so funny. All the people, the naysayers, they gleefully pointed out there was a court thing. They said, well, look how stupid he is for writing this column. There was a court case that, and of course, I reposted to him and said, that column is done Sunday nights. The court case was later in the week. I can't, I can't write a column in advance of court cases, and so.
And that was a very good column, by the way.
Oh, thank you. But that was their big thing.
I liked your what were your two phrases in the different kinds of land?
Oh, well, there's either nature-centric or urban-centric, and then there's the blend.
I like that.
So anyway, you are talking about that this Judge Frank Zapata, he's saying, no, there's no fire danger in Arizona, where they've got, 11 fires burning right now?
Exactly. The whole state is burning up. And he doesn't see that Tombstone, a wooden town in the middle of a desert, in the middle of a drought, he doesn't see that Tombstone, Arizona has a fire concern. And the fact that their water has been cut off for a year, and they're limping by on some high arsenic level wells, and but the 25 springs from the mountains that have fed them historically has been cut off due to fire. The Monument Fire last year, and then the monsoons, the subsequent monsoons came through, and without the vegetation on the hills to hold the hillside in place, debris and rocks and trees and all kinds of stuff has ruined their access to their water, in addition to the steel pipe melting in the heat of the fire. So Tombstone is in big danger. Now, I got interested in the Tombstone story myself through John Stopsel's show. I heard him tease his show. And on the tease, he said that Tombstone is told you may repair your broken water line if you use shovels and mules. No, excuse me, his was shovels and horses. Yes. Now, I have a friend who has some mining claims in Montana, and the Forest Service has told them you may access your mining claim, but you have to clear the land with hand tools. You have to haul in the drilling equipment with a team of pack mules. You have to feed the mules certified weed-free hay. And when you're done, you have to reclaim the land using hand tools. And you've heard me talk about that story before. And so when I heard the Tombstone story that they have to use shovels and horses, it piqued my interest.
Well, and I talked to somebody from Tombstone a couple of weeks ago, and they told me that was really true. We're going to have more with Marita Noon. She has a website, EnergyMakesAmericaGreat.org. More with Marita when we come back. We're News New Mexico.
We'll get along somehow until something comes up. Just have to live on our savings, that's all.
Swell, that'll take care of tonight, but what are we going to do in the morning?
We are News New Mexico. It is Tuesday, May 22nd. We're talking with Marita Noon. She's in Chicago right now. EnergyMakesAmericaGreat.org. You used a bunch of energy getting there, didn't you?
I did use a bunch of energy. Fortunately, though, it wasn't my personal energy. I did not have to flap my arms to get there. I got here courtesy of American Airlines.
All right. And so you're with a bunch of people who are trying to deal with the fact that we are apparently getting warmer as a planet, and we're trying to come up with why.
Well, actually, I am with the group of what would be called skeptics. I am with a bunch of scientists. The majority of them that are here are scientists. Some are public policy analysts and the like, and then there's a few like me who do communication. But most of them are scientists, and they're giving very scientific presentations on, what's happening with climate change and why it's happening, and some think it's sun and some think it's ocean, and, they all acknowledge that the climate does change. The big question is, what causes it? Is it man, and is there anything that humans can do about it?
Well, there's one more thing. Is it better when it's warmer? Because we're not we're not looking at that part of it. If you were in North Dakota right now, you'd be saying, yeah.
Yeah, well, in fact, one of the presentations yesterday was exactly on that what are the consequences of a warmer planet or a higher CO2 planet. And definitely there are some major assets, and looking at the data, frankly, for me, a lot of it's over my head. But anyone that's interested, the entire conference, it's put on by the Heartland Institute, and it's all available to watch live online. So anyone that's interested could just Google the Heartland Institute and International Climate Change Conference, and once you get in there, you'd find the button to watch live stream, and they're in the Q&A time. They're taking questions from people through the internet and on Twitter, as well as through the audience. So people that have an interest in that topic can participate. But also, that back to Tombstone, we're encouraging people to participate in what's going on in Tombstone. On June 8th and 9th, Tombstone is having a shovel brigade, and they're encouraging people to send a shovel, send $5 to help pay the legal costs that they are incurring in fighting the federal government to allow them access to the water that they clearly own, but the federal government is blocking access to that water. And we're asking people from all over the country to go to Tombstone on June 7th and 8th and bring a shovel and help actually clear the debris out of those springs and help with the pipes. They've managed to get some pipe laid using PVC, but the monsoon season is less than a month away, and the PVC pipe is likely to be destroyed in the first big rain.
So this is a shovel-ready protest.
Yes, it's a shovel-ready protest.
All right, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it, and I like Tombstone. I like that area down there by Sierra Vista. It's a great place to go. The other thing is to actually say to the federal government, hey, we are a state. The states made the federal government, not the other way around. And so, come on, guys, we have the right to run our own state.
Yeah, and Tombstone has owned this water, has had rights to this water long before Arizona was a state, long before there was a Forest Service, and long before there was a Wilderness Act. However, those policies, particularly the Wilderness Act, but the people in the Forest Service are preventing them from accessing their water. And I believe that when President Obama can say we're going to fast-track the wind energy project, he needs to say we're going to fast-track Tombstone's water.
We are talking with Marita Noon, EnergyMakesAmericaGreat.org.
You don't have no idea what it says. You found that in some old book or something. For all you know, it invites people to rob us.
Well, first man comes along that can read Latin is welcome to rob as far as I'm concerned.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that can read Latin, and they are robbing us in New Mexico. We're talking with Marita Noon, EnergyMakesAmericaGreat.org. She has this. You're writing about this in your current column, and you're talking about if unelected federal bureaucrats can choke off water to a thirsty wooden town in the middle of the desert in the midst of a drought, even despite being a national historic site, what will they do to towns and cities, counties, and private landowners in your state? Man, is that the right question, Marita?
Yeah, and that's why this is an important national issue. This is not just a Tombstone issue. I also, in my column, connect it to the same week that Judge Zapata said no to Tombstone was also the same week that the Government Accountability Office announced that we have so much oil reserves available to us in America through the Green River Formation, and that we have more oil than the rest of the world than anywhere else in the rest of the world. But the problem is going to be, under the current administration, the people that head up these agencies are the people who are inherently opposed to any human impact on the earth. In my column, I also have a link to a new study that came out that shows how many of top management people in the EPA, list them by name and position, used to be employed by environmental groups such as the Environmental Defense Fund or the Sierra Club or the like. And these are the people who are making decisions in the resource control position.
It's all of them. They all come from that lobby.
Yes, they do. It's very scary, and so that's why I think this Tombstone story is a really great opportunity for people to show up, because if we can have thousands of people there in Tombstone, I'd be there, but I'm speaking in Las Vegas, Nevada that day. But if we can have thousands of people show up in Tombstone with their shovel, it creates a media event, much like the protesters that I encountered here in Chicago. And when you have a media event, the White House can't help but take notice that the Americans are, supporting other Americans and are opposed to what the federal government is doing.
It's a lot like what we've seen with Congressman Pierce. You also noted in your column some of his rallies in Alamogordo, New Mexico, as well as in Sierra County, with the also the U.S. Forest Service. And we're seeing just a local grassroots movement of people moving to take a stand against what it is, the administration, the EPA, and the federal government.
Yeah, and I've been a part of several of those rallies,
Yeah.
the Lizard Rally in Roswell and the Tree Cutting Party in Cloudcroft, and in Silver City, the Road Closure Rally. And these are things we need to do. These are something that we as a citizen can do, and it's important because it's those big events that attract the media attention, and whether it's good or bad, that's how the game is played today. And so I really want to encourage people to show up in Tombstone. There's links in my article that you all have on your website. It's also on townhall.com. And then again, I'm here in Chicago at this climate change conference, and you can watch it streaming live on the internet. You can follow me on Twitter at EnergyRabbit, and I'm tweeting some of the information from the conference, and so people can follow me on that and get a taste of what's going on here, what's being said.
Energy Rabbit, like the Energizer Bunny? Is that what you're saying there?
Yeah. See, when I got into energy, my childhood nickname was Bunny. And when I got into the energy business, my family started calling me the Energizer Bunny. And so when I went to get a Twitter handle, I tried that and it was taken. And so without thinking of the repercussions that I'd live with forever, I became Energy Rabbit on Twitter and Facebook.
Marita Noon, EnergyMakesAmericaGreat.org. Thank you for what you do, Marita.
Great to talk with you as always. Thanks much.